Oh, some people are going to get upset about this one. Today we're going to tackle a case for Autotune. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the videos, and comment your video suggestions.
What are we going to learn today?
Autotune and pitch correction. So I'm going to call it pitch correction. Autotune is a brand of software. And anyway, it fixes the notes, doesn't it? It is one of the things that is most often used and somehow constantly hated on. And we're going to tackle this as a what are we even trying to do? Because we live in an equal opportunity world. Sometimes ad nauseum, with people getting to do things they have no business being able to do. And one of the biggest gripes about Autotune is that it allows people that can't sing to have record deals. And so at the top end of the music professionalism, you have Autotune being used by absolutely everyone, and we'll come to that in a minute. And everybody seems to like it, and that's totally inclusive. Everybody's creativity gets to be distributed, if you will. Now, you go down to like the amateur level, and everybody breaks their back to try to avoid any amount of pitch correction in their recordings. And they poo-poo on it like, oh, well, if you can't sing, then just sing better, and things like that. What are we trying to do? I talked in my last video about recording for the song, to make the song the best that it can be. Because if you intend to make your music for mass consumption or any public consumption, then you need to have your recording be the best that you can make it, even if that means that one of the guys in your band doesn't play every note of his instrument in the band. You know, I play some guitar, but even if I'm producing a track, I got guys that I will call who play guitar much better than me. And that doesn't upset me whether it's my track or someone else's track. Now, on to the Autotune. There's two things going on. One, let's take on the inclusive side of it in this argument that I think gets really lost, which is Chris Christopherson wrote a ton of great songs. Not the best singer in the world. Autotune could make him a better singer. So let's say that he had difficulty selling his songs to various artists who are better singers. Now, he could just get the stuff recorded, sell it himself, and then he could be his own thing. Live performance, you know, we have live Autotune now, so that's another video entirely. But we are in an era where people, for better or worse, can express themselves through music in a recorded medium. They can put it on iTunes and sell it themselves. They can get it on Spotify, and however much social media buzz that they can garner is what they get. And Autotune helps that. So I don't understand why there's so much hate against it in, you know, any application at all, when it's making it more fun for everybody. Now, the second thing is this idea that if you use it, then you just can't sing, and you should just be able to sing the song, and these sorts of things. Now look, there is stuff going on behind the scenes here. Number one, every song you hear on the radio has pitch correction applied to the vocal. Full stop. They all do. The good singers, the bad singers, the rappers. Everybody, anytime there's a melody, there's pitch correction on it. Now, if you play with this stuff, the actual software, for a while, and you learn the sort of artifacts that it leaves behind, the way that it makes things sound, if you're a singer and you sing and then you mess with this, then you will get to be able to hear when there's pitch correction on something and when there's not, and how much. And country radio especially is completely covered up in it. They're just a few ticks away from T-Pain. And that's fine. But here's where the rub happens. I get a random country singer to come and record a song with me, we get toward the end, maybe at some point we discuss, yeah, after we put the pitch correction on, all this will sound fine. Now, here's what's happening. Again, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to make our music for public consumption? Because if we are, and we're doing things that the public may recognize as a genre or a type of music that they are already accustomed to, then we have got to make it sound like what they recognize. And so, you take all this time, spend all this money on strobe tuners and things of that sort to make sure that your guitar stays perfectly in tune for the whole session. The drummer tunes his drums. We make sure that we don't have any standing waves when we record the bass. Make sure there's no phasing. Everything in the digital era especially is in perfect tune and in perfect time most of the time. And then when we get to the vocal, we just expect somebody to stand up there and sound human next to these performances, which are far better, far more accurate than we would likely ever be able to reproduce live or in any kind of venue where there's people milling about. Now, you have that variance in what your layman listener is going to feel is the most important part of the song. That's the thing they're paying attention to. They don't realize that it's just synths out of tune or that it's a natural sound. They just know that it doesn't sound like the rest of the stuff that they're used to hearing, which might as well be a synthesizer. Now, what you have to say to yourself is, that's the game. Am I cool with it or not? The game is that people that don't know you don't care how you feel about pitch correction, auto-tune, artistic integrity. They don't care. They're driving in their car, and they're reading a book, and they're eating a burrito, and drinking a soda, and then your song comes on next to these others. All right? So they don't really have time to consider all these finer points. Or drive. Now, think about it this way, too. A lot of times, I throw the pitch correction on, it's not even much. Just gets the long notes locked in, yeah? And people say, oh, it doesn't sound like me anymore. It does. It sounds a lot like you. It doesn't sound like the you that you just heard a minute ago. But consider, this is a very common thing with online gaming where people's microphones will be pitch shifted up or down in an attempt to hide their identity, keep creepers from telling that they're children, things like that. And you would never know. Consider if I had pitch corrected my voice in this video and you've never seen any of my videos, you would think, oh, he's got a high or a deep voice. So, again, your friends may be like, oh, that sounds kind of strange. But they'll get over it because they'll get used to it because it's already what they're used to as music listeners. And then the people that don't know you from anyone will think, oh, this sounds like another one of those songs, which is any song that a lot of people are currently listening to in this age of recording. So, pitch correction is not just here for horrible singers to be able to do stuff. And even when that is the case, I think that's good. Because those people may be very creative. They may have good ideas. They may be good songs. Even though they sound a bit like a robot. What are we trying to do?